Good morning. I hope you all are having a great Friday. My name is Sean Tierney from Insights in Automation, and this is the Automation Question of the Week. This is a follow-up to the morning show where I did a live Q&A for my Level 2 members, and I pick one of the questions from that to share with the public. And I thought this would be a good one. This one came in from Mohan, and I believe this came in through the Automation blog. And this particular question is asking, what basically what laptop should I buy? What do I need for horsepower in my laptop to be able to use all the current gen software? He was asking about TIA Portal. We're also going to look at Studio 5000 version 36. So with that said, let's go to the computer screen here, and we'll start with View. We'll start with Logix Designer first. And what you can see here, and I'll put links after the show. I'll go back and put these links in the description for you guys on the Automation blog. So in any case, I know we're live streaming to several locations right now, but it'll be at the Automation blog with the links if you want them. But in any case, so here's the release notes for version 36. This was released in May of, I guess, 0.02 was released in May of 2024. And let's take a look at the minimum requirements here. First of all, the hardware requirements, you're going to need an i5, Core i5, at least a 3rd gen. And that's pretty good. I'm running 6 gens here. I just picked up some refurbished 6 gens for the training room. As you know, I'm doing in-person training these days here at my physical office. And so those 6 gens work really good. So I'm sure a 3rd gen works good as well. 8 gig of RAM, I would say that's kind of the minimum. Sometimes I run my VMs with 6, and they can be a little slowish, but again, it also depends on your hard drive. Are you running an SSD, and is it a newer SSD? I have a lot of the systems I have some have M.2s, some have the older SATA. So there's a huge difference in speed, especially in the latest versions that came out like a year or two ago. They're substantially faster than the SATA SSDs. But they're saying here, as far as hard drive space, you need 30 gigabytes of hard drive space. As far as operating systems, you can see here they're only supporting professional and enterprise, okay? They're also only testing 64-bit. Then they said the software is not designed for 32-bit. Okay, so Windows 10 Professional Enterprise, Windows 11 Professional Enterprise, and Windows Server 2022. And there's more notes, but that's really the highlights of Studio 5000 Logic Designer. Now, let's go over to TIA Portal, and specifically Step 7, version 19. And I have to say, from all the courses I've been teaching on Siemens versus the courses I'm teaching on ControlLogix and CompactLogix, I do think that TIA Portal does require more horsepower. Not a whole bunch, but it's definitely a little sluggish if you try to run it on, if you're running version 30 or 24 of Studio 5000, it doesn't use a lot of horsepower. But TIA Portal has all these new, brand new, like WinCC Unified is built in, and you have all these new features in the latest version 19. And so it does seem to be a little bit harsher on when it comes to the computer requirements. I don't think you're going to see anything here in these requirements that are above what you have currently. Typically, none of us are going to be using a very old, if this is what you do for a living, you're not going to be using a really, really old computer, or if you are, you shouldn't. Now, they divide it up from professional and basic. So basic being the software for, like, let's say the basic HMI panels and the S7-1200. And those will actually run on Windows Home. Right, but the professional edition will only run on the Pro. And let's take a look at the let's take a look at what Step 7 Pro requires. This program's the S7 1500, 1200, and from my understanding, the 300 and 400 as well, even though I've never used those guys. So let's see what we got here for system requirements. Now, they recommend their nice, nifty, brand new MD57A. That's that laptop I covered on the news. Really cool. They also require, now this, I'm confused about this. I don't think they meant to say that they recommend an i5 Gen 12. Most people don't have Gen 12 yet. I mean, all right, we're on Gen 13, but how often are you going to buy a new laptop? Every year? Yeah, that would be great, right? That's kind of wasteful. Very wasteful. So I think that's a little steep. I don't have any 12s. I think the latest I have is a 9. I have a lot of 6s and 7s and 8s. So, just throughout the training room and the multiple computers and the multiple offices. So you don't need a 12th gen i5 to run TIA Portal V19. I run it on, the systems I've been testing it on. They're like the i5 6th gen. So I don't know. I guess they're saying, hey, if you want to have a recommended system, not the minimum system, use this. 16 gig. I haven't built a computer with less than 16 gig in over a decade. I do recommend 32 gig though when you're doing VMware. See if I can make these a little bit bigger. Yeah, then it goes right underneath me. Because if you want to give your VM 8 and you want to run 2 VMs at the same time, that's 16 gigs. You still need some for the host system. And then, of course, we talk about an SSD. But in this case, it takes 50 gigabytes. Okay, and again, there's all kinds of extra stuff you can add. You may have some previous versions you want to run as well. I know I always, since I got my first copy from Siemens, I've run 15.1 and then 16 and 17 and 18. I just keep installing them. So you're probably going to need much more than 50 gigs. I think 100 gigs is a little, I'm finding 100 gigs for my VMs are a little small. I'm having to expand them to 150. So just keep that in mind if you're building a new VM. 1 gigabyte network for multi-user. So I think that's kind of harsh as well. But maybe that's so you have the premier experience. I don't know. 15-inch display. I haven't used anything smaller than 15 inches in well over a decade. And 1080p, of course, as a minimum. And then here we can see I was telling about the Windows. I'm going to shrink it down. I was talking about Windows Home is only for basic. You can see that asterisk right there. And then Windows 10 Pro and Enterprise. You can see the actual versions there they list. And then Windows 11, Home, Pro, and Enterprise. And then Windows Server 16, 19, and 2022. So that is the question of the week. Those are the requirements if you want to get a brand new laptop and you're going to be programming either ControlLogix, CompactLogix, or S7 1200, 1500. I mean, everybody I know, we're all getting 32 gigs now because most of us run VMware. And even though they don't have perpetual licenses anymore, it's kind of stinks. But because you often will have 2 or 3 different instances up, right? And so you need that extra memory. And then, of course, I don't think you can buy anything less than a 13 gen right now. But don't feel like you have to get a 12 gen to run version 19. You don't. And so with that, you can tell that different companies had much different layouts on their requirements. But with that, that's the end of the question of the week for this week. I want to wish you all an awesome weekend. I want to wish you good health and happiness. And until next time, my friends, peace.